Okay, let's dive right into this. Picture this scenario for a second. You take a lunch break that runs, maybe 5 minutes over. Or you have a super brief, totally casual chat with a colleague out in the hallway. And then, almost like magic, your manager seems to know all about it before you've even sat back down at your desk. Yeah, we are talking about the sheer, exhausting stress of feeling like you are constantly being watched by a coworker who has basically made it their personal mission to share your every move with management. It's a very real and, honestly, a very frustrating phenomenon. So today, in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how to handle the workplace informant, how to reclaim your peace of mind, and how to construct professional boundaries that absolutely no one can cross.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start by looking at the workplace informant themselves. Then we'll dig into understanding what's actually driving their motives. From there, we'll talk about setting bulletproof professional boundaries, how to let your actual work do the talking, and finally, how to build a healthy professional mindset to deal with all of this.
All right, part one, the workplace informant and the serious emotional toll of feeling like you're constantly being watched. Because look, when someone in your office is meticulously tracking who came in late, who left early, or exactly how long someone's lunch was, it actively creates a really toxic environment. It fundamentally breaks down trust. And when that trust breaks down, well, your internal monologue can get pretty loud. You might find yourself constantly wondering, are people talking about me? Can I actually trust anyone here? Should I just, stop speaking to my coworkers altogether? Listen, I want to validate this right now. It is completely understandable to feel hurt, isolated, and highly suspicious when you feel targeted like this. It is a completely natural reaction to a very unnatural amount of scrutiny. But we cannot let those feelings isolate us or derail our focus.
That brings us to part two, understanding their true motives and really shifting your own perspective on the situation.
This right here is where we take back control, because the absolute most important paradigm shift you can make today is accepting this. You cannot control the informant's behavior, but you absolutely control your reaction to it. Not everyone who reports things is, some cartoon villain plotting your demise. Their motivations actually vary wildly. Some genuinely believe they're just being a loyal soldier to the manager. Others, they just desperately want to appear important, or they really enjoy the whole power trip of being the office encyclopedia. Some think this is somehow going to improve their position, while others are just masking deep-seated insecurities, believing that staying incredibly close to management is literally the only way to protect their own job. But here is the most liberating part of all this. Their reasons belong entirely to them. You don't need to fix them, and you certainly don't need to react emotionally to them.
Okay, let's move into part three, setting bulletproof professional boundaries. Consider this your defensive playbook. So your very first defensive step. You have to immediately stop treating these specific colleagues as trusted confidants. Let's say you're having a tough day and you tell this coworker, man, I am so frustrated with this project. Well, you've just handed them emotional ammunition. They can run straight to the manager and say you have a bad attitude or that you're overwhelmed. Instead, try saying something like, I'm working through it. Bam. It's neutral, it's totally ungossipable, and you aren't being fake here, right? You are simply setting a strict, impenetrable professional boundary. You're essentially starving the informant of the juicy details they crave.
And that leads to a golden rule: separate kindness from trust. You can absolutely still be a great colleague for sure. You can be respectful, you can be helpful, you can be perfectly polite. But being cooperative does not mean you have to give someone an all-access pass to your private thoughts, your frustrations, or your future plans. Politeness and vulnerability are just not the same thing.
So the crucial point here is implementing a mental filter immediately. Before you share an opinion at the water cooler or in a Slack message, ask yourself one simple question. If my manager heard this exactly as I said it, would I still be comfortable? You really must always operate under the assumption that whatever you say will eventually reach your manager's ears. If the answer to that question is yes, then go ahead and say it. But if the answer is no, keep it completely to yourself. All right, now for part four, letting your work speak. This is our offensive playbook. A lot of people, when they realize there's an informant in the office, they try to fight workplace politics with more politics. They start gathering their own dirt or finding their own allies to report back. Do not do this. It's a trap. That only creates a larger, messier cycle of drama. Instead, you need to take control of your own narrative by building a direct, rock-solid relationship with your manager. You need to step up. Give updates yourself. Ask questions directly to your manager. Share your progress regularly. Think about it. If your manager is only ever hearing about you through a third party, you have completely lost control of your story.
Managers inherently trust the people they communicate with firsthand. Make sure you are the primary source of information about your own career. And this perfectly illustrates why playing the long game always wins. Think about what the informant actually reports. It's the petty stuff, right? When you swiped your badge, when you left, who you chatted with by the coffee machine. But what they can't argue with is completed work, consistent results, professionalism, accountability. If you have done your work properly, those tiny, petty reports have virtually zero long-term impact, because real performance builds undeniable credibility over time. But look, we live in the real world. Sometimes an informant will twist facts or make outright false accusations. If that happens, the key is to not react emotionally, wondering, what did they tell the manager today? That just lets them control your emotions without even trying. So stay calm and keep concrete evidence. Keep your emails, save important messages, document your meeting notes, log your completed work records. Facts are and always will be infinitely stronger than opinions. When you have the receipts, you never ever need to raise your voice. Which brings us to our final section, Part 5, a healthy professional mindset and really redefining the workplace. We really need to redefine how we view the workplace. It's a professional environment. It's not necessarily a circle of your closest, most intimate friends. And honestly, treating it like one is what leaves you vulnerable to the workplace informant in the first place. You simply do not need everyone in the office to like you. And you definitely don't need to be clued into every single hushed conversation happening in the break room. What you actually need to thrive is self-respect, firm professional boundaries, consistent performance, and emotional control. If you maintain those elements, you're going to be untouchable. Your energy is incredibly valuable. So spend it building your skills, not trying to micromanage an insecure coworker's behavior. Because at the end of the day, people who constantly report on others might gain some cheap attention in the short term, but professionals who consistently produce great work and communicate honestly, they earn lasting respect. A reputation built on reliability is practically impossible to challenge with gossip. So the question is, which are you building? Keep your head high, keep your boundaries firm, and let your amazing work do the talking.